It's episode 13 of Survivor Thailand, and last time, we witnessed 2 rounds of the game go down, both resulting in a member of the minority going to jury. However, the minority did not get out so easily. After Kaylee, Chloe, and Luciano flipped a camp bench off the hillside, and after Chloe hid the flint from the tribe, the majority felt miserable and enraged at them. Unfortunately for them, it allowed for an easy tribal council vote where Morgan stole Luciano's vote and Kaylee became the 4th juror. In the second round, Luciano felt comfortable enough to keep his idol as Liesl told him he was safe and that Chloe was going to jury. However, after Liesl told Zaylin about Luciano's idol, Zaylin took matters into her own hands and flipped her vote for Luciano, skewing the split vote plan to take out Chloe and instead sending Luciano to jury. With the final 6 getting closer to the end, will the Hidden Daggers alliance finally break apart? Find out on this episode. It's night 27, and Koh Lanta arrives to camp after losing Luciano. In confessional, Jordan says he has no idea what just happened at Tribal Council. The plan was to put 3 votes on Chloe and 2 votes on Luciano, but seemingly one of the girls did not vote Chloe. It definitely comes off as a corrupted move and he wants to figure out who did it. Everyone stands around wondering who flipped their vote, and Chloe asks if she was supposed to go home or not. Nobody is clearing it up, which is starting to frustrate her. Morgan then tells Chloe that someone did not vote the way they were supposed to, and that's what's throwing people off now. Chloe then says they basically expected her to go, and Wesley says yes. In confessional, Zaylin raises her hand and says she flipped the vote at Tribal Council. Not only has Luciano been a thorn in her side all season, but she found out he had an idol, so he had to go. Liesl might be able to figure out it was her, but she has a plan to divert the attention onto Morgan. Morgan and Jordan talk behind a tent, and Morgan promises Jordan she did not flip her vote. Jordan says he's just wondering why someone would want to keep Chloe, and Morgan says it had to be Zaylin because now she can lure Chloe to her side. In confessional, Morgan says she can 100% tell Zaylin flipped her vote. Maybe Liesl is part of it too. They want to form a trio as the 3 girls and then pick off her own trio with Wesley and Jordan. Morgan then says she's ready to initiate a new plan. The mission is to put Zaylin's head onto a stake. Jordan smiles and says he's ready to cut her because she's doing too much now. Liesl meanwhile asks Zaylin if she knows what happened with the vote, and Zaylin tells her she knows Morgan flipped her vote. The reason she knows is because neither of them would do it, and Morgan had motive. She recalls Morgan thinking they could vote Luciano out during the well chat, but everyone told her the initial plan was to take out Chloe before Luciano. Liesl nods, and in confessional, Liesl says she believes Morgan was the one to flip her vote because it makes total sense. She has been playing for herself just like most other people here, so she had a perfect opportunity to take out her opposition in Luciano. This sucks for Miss Liesl though, because now she doesn't have her final 3 plan in place anymore. She only has Zaylin now. It's day 28, and Wesley and Jordan form a sand castle together. In confessional, Wesley says he has a creative spirit, and sometimes the creativity juices just need to come out. So now, himself and Jordan have created the ultimate kingdom for their alliance. Unfortunately, the Hidden Daggers are probably no longer a thing, but his alliance with Jordan is staying strong. Wesley then tells Jordan that his ideal final 2 is him, and Jordan says the same back. Wesley then asks Jordan how he really feels about last night, and Jordan sighs and says he thinks Zaylin really flipped, but they didn't get to properly hear her out yet. Wesley says that while Zaylin and Liesl are true threats to them right now, they also have to look out for Morgan because she has the best chance of winning the game right now. Jordan nods and says he knows Morgan will eventually have to go, but it's a question of when. Meanwhile at camp, Morgan wakes up and gets out of her tent, and she sits on the bench next to Zaylin. Chloe then asks Morgan if she voted to save her, but Morgan says she wishes she could say yes right now, but the truth is no. Chloe then says that nobody is admitting to it. Zaylin tells Chloe that the person who did it is probably hiding the truth to save their own ass. As soon as the flipper comes out, they will probably get voted out. In confessional, Morgan says she can sense a lot of weird energy around Zaylin. It's evident she flipped, and she's probably trying to pin it on her since she wouldn't do Liesl dirty. What a sneaky bastard she is. Zaylin later finds Wesley by his sand castle alone, and she joins in to chat some game. In confessional, Zaylin says she needs to start planting the seeds that Morgan is the one to blame for this flipped vote. If Wesley and Jordan believe her, they can vote Morgan out at the next tribal council, which means it's another great round for Zaylin. Wesley then tells Zaylin he's still a bit shaken by last night, and Zaylin says she feels even worse. She can tell Morgan is trying to pin the blame on her, but in reality, it had to have been Morgan. She was the one at the well yesterday trying to get Luciano voted out, but they all had to correct her and say that Chloe was the plan all along. Wesley says he honestly thought Morgan wouldn't do it, but it's starting to make more sense in his head. Zaylin then tells him that they can perhaps try to blindside Morgan next tribal council instead of voting out Chloe. Chloe isn't a threat to their games, while Morgan is. Morgan can win immunities, find advantages and idols, and if she sits in the final two, she will win this game. Wesley tells Morgan he will talk with Jordan about this. Perhaps they can also get Liesl on board and put their 4 votes onto Morgan. Wesley later runs around, trying to find Jordan, and he eventually finds him alone. Wesley then tells him that they need to reconsider their plans now because he's starting to think they are looking into the wrong direction. Jordan asks what he means, and Wesley tells him they need to vote out Morgan next vote. Jordan makes a stunned face, and in confessional, Wesley says he's starting to believe that Morgan flipped her vote to save Chloe. Zaylin's argument makes a lot of sense, considering Morgan was the only person who even brought up Luciano's name yesterday. Jordan then tells Wesley they can't vote Morgan out or else they are keeping a strong duo in the game, that being Liesl and Zaylin. All it takes is for them to get Chloe, and that's 3 against their 2 at Final 5. Wesley tells him he can get Chloe to trust them more. If they can get Chloe before the girls, they have nothing to worry about at Final 5. Jordan sighs, and in confessional, Jordan admits he doesn't like the idea of taking out Morgan right now. She is someone who will take him to the end, just like Wesley. He needs to surround himself with people who want him in the final 2 seats, and one person who will not do that for him is Zaylin. He needs Zaylin to go home tomorrow. It's day 29, and everyone arrives to the challenge mat for their next immunity challenge. Chloe then tells everyone she sees an extra necklace on the table, and Jordan looks down at his own necklace as well. Justin then asks Jordan to come give back his necklace, so he heads up and hands it over. Justin then claims that today, 2 people will win individual immunity, meaning 2 people will be safe at tonight's tribal council. For today's challenge, everyone must navigate a maze while blind and reach 3 different stations with bags at them. Once all 3 bags are retrieved, they must blindly return to the entrance. First 2 people with all 3 bags back at the entrance will win immunity, safe from the vote. The 4 losers will be vulnerable tonight, and 1 will be voted out of the game. With that, everyone is blinded and ready, and Justin begins the challenge. They all start heading forwards, and Chloe and Jordan miss the entrance area while the rest enter the maze. Chloe eventually realizes she's going the wrong way and then corrects herself and reaches the entrance. Jordan meanwhile gets really lost. Many people start bumping into fences, and Morgan takes multiple hits to her knees. Liesl then reaches a station first, so she looks for a bag. Morgan also finds a different station and immediately finds herself a bag. Zaylin starts running into Wesley, and then she tells him she's just going to follow him. He then navigates a bit quicker so he loses her, and does so with ease as she wonders where he went. Liesl finally picks up her first bag, and Wesley reaches the station she's at and collects his first bag. Zaylin then bumps into Liesl, and Liesl tells her to keep going. Morgan then reaches the second station pretty quickly, though getting many bruises along the way. Chloe then finds her first station and immediately picks up a bag. Jordan finally gets to the entrance of the maze and decides to run through it as fast as he can, but he keeps injuring himself, even in the groin at one point. Everyone else continues to injure themselves as they run into fences, and Liesl runs into a fence super hard and she begins to scream in pain. Justin then asks her if she's okay, and she sits down and says she'll be fine. Wesley then finds his second station, and so does Morgan. Morgan finds her bag pretty quickly while Wesley looks for his. Chloe then finds her second station as well, and she grabs her bag. Wesley finally finds a bag, and now him and Chloe are tied for second. Jordan finally reaches his first station and grabs his bag, while Zaylin is completely lost now, unable to find her first bag. Morgan reaches closer and closer to the entrance, but then she passes it and goes the wrong way. Liesl finally decides to get up, and she continues navigating the maze carefully. After 10 minutes, nobody else has found another bag, and Morgan continues to struggle finding the entrance. Wesley then finds his third and final station, and he grabs his last bag and starts going to the entrance. Jordan finds his second station, and so does Liesl. Zaylin then decides to give up as she can't figure out where she is, so she sits down and waits for the challenge to end. After a long time of searching, Morgan finally finds the entrance, and she slowly makes her way out of the maze and wins herself the first necklace. Wesley then searches for the entrance as well, but he goes the wrong way. Chloe finds her final station and bag, and then she also begins looking for the entrance. With Wesley and Chloe searching for the entrance, it's Chloe who finds it with ease and she exits the maze second, meaning Morgan and Chloe have both one individual immunity this round. Chloe then celebrates with Morgan, hugging her as if they are friends, and Morgan tells her she's proud of her, genuinely. Zaylin breathes out, very frustrated by this challenge, and Jordan sits down because of the immense pain he's in. Back on the mats, Justin congratulates and invites Morgan and Chloe up for their necklaces, and then they both make their way up front. He puts the necklaces on them and confirms neither will be voted out tonight. As for the rest, someone will be the 15th person voted out and the 6th member of the jury. With that, everyone starts heading back to camp, and in confessional, Morgan says that the injuries she had to endure were completely worth it. She's immune now, and she has a clear target in her sights, and that's Zaylin. By Zaylin. Back at Koh-Lanta's camp, everyone takes a rest after the painful immunity challenge, and Jordan says he needs the medical team to check him out because his knees and arms don't feel right. Wesley asks him if he threw himself around in that maze, and Jordan says he actually did. In confessional, Chloe says it feels really nice to win her second immunity of the season, especially knowing she could have went home tonight as the obvious vote. But now, these suckers have to turn on each other. Finally, she can make a move of her own, and she has the perfect plan in mind for tonight. Chloe then asks Morgan if she wants to go chat for a bit, and Morgan says sure. Away from camp, Chloe tells Morgan that since they are both immune now, she feels like it's only right to form a little deal here. Morgan says she's all ears, and Chloe tells her she wants to go to Final 2 with her. She's the only person she believes she can beat in the Final 2. Morgan asks why, and Chloe tells her she just doesn't know what moves she made compared to the rest of the cast. Morgan smirks, asking her if that's supposed to be an insult, and Chloe says she's just being honest. That's the reason she wants to go to the end with her. In confessional, Chloe says she doesn't actually want to reach Final 2 with Morgan. But in order for her little plan to work out, she needs Morgan to trust her. The only way to do that is to seem like she's underestimating her, and then she can plant seeds in her mind that she'll believe. Chloe then tells Morgan straight up that there's one person who has been saying her name all day yesterday, and it's not a name she'll appreciate. Morgan asks if it's Zaylin, but Chloe says it's even more unexpected. She name drops Wesley. Morgan squints, asking her what he has been saying about her, and Chloe says he has been wanting her out this round as he assumes she was the one to put Luciano's name at tribal council. Morgan shakes her head, calling Wesley stupid if he truly believes she did. In confessional, Morgan says she's quite surprised her own ally within the trio would believe that she would make such a cutthroat move last tribal. There's no logical sense in that. Now she's starting to wonder what else Wesley has been doing behind her back. Chloe then tells Morgan that in her eyes, Wesley needs to go or else he will use Jordan and Liesl to get to Final 3. If they allow themselves to take out Zaylin tonight, the two of them are next. Wesley, Jordan, and Liesl will go to Final 3. Morgan then tells Chloe that she wants to turn on them first then. Wesley will have to go tonight. Chloe then asks if they should pull in Zaylin, and Morgan says they can. If Zaylin feels in danger tonight, she'll do whatever to survive, which means writing down Wesley's name. Morgan later finds Jordan alone at camp, laying on the ground, and she asks him to be serious with her for a minute. Jordan asks her what's up, and she asks if Wesley has thrown her name out. In confessional, Jordan says that he was thinking that perhaps Wesley was caught red-handed for targeting Morgan this round, so his instinct was to be truthful and tell Morgan that Wesley was indeed after her. Jordan then tells her Wesley has said her name, but it wasn't really going anywhere. Zaylin was always the target. Morgan shakes her head and says that's not good enough for her to want him here, especially since he has an idol. They need to blindside him tonight. Jordan tells her he doesn't feel like that's their best play, especially since Zaylin is going to be in Final 5 with Liesl, but Morgan promises that Chloe is on board to go to Final 3 with them. Or at least Final 4. They can take their shot at Wesley now and he won't use his idol. He will use it at Final 5, and at that point, he has a good chance of taking her out. In confessional, Morgan says that while Zaylin and Liesl are her numbers on Wesley tonight, she needs Jordan on board as well because they are entering the final war of the season. After Wesley goes tonight, it's herself and Jordan against Zaylin and Liesl. Luckily for her, Chloe is already on her side, but of course, you can never be certain with that girl. Zaylin, Liesl, and Chloe then chat, and Zaylin asks Chloe if she knows where the votes are going. Chloe then tells them that she's an open vote tonight. She's willing to go wherever, as long as it makes the most sense for her game. Liesl then asks the ladies if they want to put 3 votes on Jordan, assuming the other 3 are going to put their votes on Zaylin. Zaylin says sure. They just need to hope Wesley doesn't play an idol, or else rocks won't be an option and Liesl automatically goes in a deadlock situation. Chloe then tells them that she will pretend like she is with them, just so Wesley doesn't use it. Perhaps he will flip his vote in the re-vote and do Jordan. He wouldn't want to be rocked out with an idol. In confessional, Chloe laughs to herself, calling herself the true villain of this endgame. Not only a villain, but a smart one at that. She's pinning these two sides against each other, and neither side knows it. She literally holds all the power for these next 2 rounds at the very least, giving her a chance to reach Final 2 and winning this game. She didn't think she was winning this game after losing Sabrina, but now she sees a clear path. Zaylin then tells the girl she's going to act like she's very nervous tonight, and hopefully that'll be enough to convince Wesley not to play his idol. Chloe nods and says she'll go catch up with the others now. Wesley meanwhile finds Jordan and Morgan together at camp, so he asks if there's a plan in place for this vote. Morgan tells him it's Zaylin, and Jordan backs that. Wesley says he might play his idol just in case Chloe votes with the other 2 girls. If the vote ties, at least their own trio stays completely safe. In confessional, Morgan says she instantly started to panic when Wesley uttered that he would play his idol. Now she has to figure out how she'll prevent this idol play without coming off suspicious to Wesley. Morgan then tells Wesley that she reckons he doesn't even need to play it. Chloe is with them 100%, especially because she has wanted Zaylin out the last few rounds. Wesley says he doesn't see a reason to keep it, considering they have the numbers at Final 5. Morgan tells him it's never a simple game. Someone can surprise them and use an idol at Final 5, putting them at higher risk of going to jury. In confessional, Jordan breathes out and says he really did not want this vote to come down to this. Morgan desperately wants Wesley gone, but Wesley is a loyal soldier for him. Not only that, but Morgan thinks she can convince Wesley not to play his idol on himself tonight, but there's no logical sense to do that. He's starting to think he should just vote for Zaylin tonight and call it a night, but if he does, Morgan will probably try to flip on him and Wesley at Final 5 and try to work with Liesl and Chloe. There's nothing more threatening than the girls coming together, and they always reach Final 3 in these latest Survivor seasons. It's night 29, and everyone arrives to Tribal Council. Justin then welcomes Luciano as the latest juror, and Zaylin gulps and looks down at the floor. Justin then points out the notable aspect of this tribal, and that's the fact that Morgan and Chloe both have immunity necklaces. Morgan smiles and says they both really needed this because they were both in danger of leaving. Justin asks Chloe if winning immunity brought new opportunities to her game, and Chloe says absolutely. She has been given an extra day to campaign for her endgame so she doesn't go home. She truly believes she would have went home tonight if it wasn't for this necklace. Justin then asks Zaylin if it's a bit defeating being one of the 4 only voting choices tonight, and Zaylin says she's reasonably worried. There has been talk about a betrayer within the 5-person majority alliance, and it has to be amongst the girls. Chloe says she's glad she's not part of that drama, and Morgan says she wishes she wasn't considered a flipper. Unfortunately, that's just how she has been labeled now. Justin asks Jordan if this flipper is someone the tribe needs to send out tonight, but Jordan says he's not concerned about voting out the flipper. He's more concerned about setting up his endgame. Liesl agrees and says to her, she doesn't actually care who voted out Luciano over Chloe. She's looking at who she can take out of the game right now that might not be of any benefit later. Justin then asks Wesley if this vote is more unpredictable now that the majority is forced to turn on each other, and Wesley says of course. Nobody knows for sure what will go down, especially since one person here tonight hasn't been the most clear on where they are voting. Chloe smiles and says he's obviously referring to her. However, she likes being in this wildcard position because it gives people a reason to care about her vote now. She's no longer considered a waste bin. Justin then asks Chloe what this vote will mean for her game, and Chloe says she needs to make sure she's not the one going home tomorrow, and the next day, and then Final 3. She needs to bring people who won't be her demise and will go for other people. Justin asks Zaylin if that's something she can offer to Chloe, and Zaylin says perhaps. However, her and Chloe haven't had any recent chats, so she doesn't feel too confident that Chloe will be on her side tonight. Morgan then squints and looks around, and then Justin claims that it's probably best to figure out what will go down with this vote.
I'll tally the votes. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol and they want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Alright, I'll read the votes. First vote. Zaylin. Jordan. 1 vote Zaylin, 1 vote Jordan. Jordan. That's 2 votes Jordan, 1 vote Zaylin. Wesley. Wesley. That's 2 votes Wesley, 2 votes Jordan, 1 vote Zaylin, 1 vote left. 15th person voted out of Survivor Thailand and the 6th member of the jury. Wesley.
Wesley laughs to himself and says good game to everyone, and Jordan gets up and apologizes to him. Zaylin and Liesl meanwhile look at each other, and Chloe smiles at the jury. Morgan hugs Wesley, telling him she had to keep herself safe, and Wesley says it's all good. He then places his torch down next to Justin, and Justin snuffs the torch. He then turns around and says good game and good luck to them, and may the best win. Everyone says goodbye to him, and he makes his way out. Justin then tells the rest that they are getting closer and closer to the end, so they should keep fighting as the battle isn't over yet. He then orders them to head back to camp, so they start going back to camp. Next time on Survivor Thailand. The finals are right around the corner, and with only 5 people left, one will be crowned the title of sole survivor. Will it be Chloe, the underdog with massive control potential in this endgame? Will it be Morgan, the wrestler queen who is ready to tackle her opposition? Will it be Liesl, the definition of playing under the radar and smart? Will it be Jordan, the last man standing? Or will it be Zaylin, one of the most cutthroat players of the season? Find all of this out at our finale, one that you do not want to miss. Wesley's final thoughts. Wesley is quite surprised by this outcome, but he holds no hard feelings whatsoever. When Morgan told him she was the reason he got out, he started to realize that Jordan leaked all of their conversations to Morgan. Well played to both of them. They knew his idol was a threat to their games, so now they don't have to worry about it. He's definitely still rooting for them, but if neither reach the end, he wouldn't be surprised if Liesl somehow swoops in and takes the victory from the rest.